Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to Grab Guidance online class. Today we are having online session on Ask Me Anything on entrepreneurship. And we have Dr. Himanshu Puri with us as our guest. I would like Dr. Himanshu to introduce himself and take the session forward.
All right. Thank you so much, Ankita. I think it's one of the most important area today everyone is interested in, which is entrepreneurship. Everyone is talking about sort of starting their own venture. Everyone is interested to get into startups, and I think when I was thinking like what I can deliver, then I thought, okay, why not? Like you let it be just a open platform. Let anyone
Yeah,
come in and ask anything which they have
exactly.
regarding entrepreneurship or startup in their mind. So yeah, just to I started with giving some background about why this kind of a topic that we have
This
chosen. But
topic, yeah.
yes, yeah, but yeah, definitely would like to let everyone know who am I. So I have been into the startup ecosystem since last 7 to 8 years. Worked with couple of edtech startups which are today unicorn. Have built couple of legal tech businesses in India, raised money, have taken a venture from one company to 100 employee company, clocking a ARR of 1 million revenue and all those things. So yeah, I think this experience of mine probably I wanted to bring on the table and probably you know uh, take up all those questions which any young entrepreneur have there in mind, how to start, what to do, what not to do, everything. So I think this was my whole sole agenda, and I just wanted to bring in this whole sort of experience, so that I can really answer them and all those things. So probably what, Ankita, we can do is, I think we can start with the questions that you have probably received, and
Yes, yes.
probably I'll take up that one by one, and would like to answer them, and we can open it for on the chat as well. If somebody wants to take up the live question also, would love to take up
Yes,
everything.
sure. Actually, I have my own questions as well. So, yeah. So I just want to know, I mean, how can I feed my ideas and convert them into startup? I mean,
Got it, got it,
yeah,
got it. See, basically what happens is, idea. See, today in our country, tons of people are having tons of ideas, right? And
true.
it's not that easy for anyone to take an idea to building a venture.
Hmm.
That's one of the rigorous and a grueling kind of a journey. I mean, you have to do, like, it's a very broad question, I would say, because idea is something that everyone today has it. But how
Exactly.
many are actually taking a plunge to get into, entrepreneurship? How many are really starting their own ventures?
Hmm.
Execution, planning about that, whole venture is somewhere at a different level. So, like you said, like you have an idea, but there are
Right.
so many things you are still required to do, I would say. Because idea is something, like I said, it's there, but are you like really sure that this idea is somewhere
Uh,
would work out for you? Are you
right.
right? So there I am talking about some sort of validation. You need to be checking out on your idea, thinking
Hmm.
more on your idea, validating it from the market, validating it from the customers, other stakeholders, whether this idea that I have can really do good for me, can really be built as a venture or a startup down the line. So after idea, I think you probably need to think more, how can I validate that idea? Can this
Yes.
idea really be taken up to a next level as a
Or
venture?
not.
Is this idea coming from a sector which is will give you a decent amount of growth? The market is get good enough, all those things. Even this idea will definitely formulate into a product at the end, which
Right.
is probably solving out any customer's problem. So you
Hmm.
need to see whether this idea is really catering to a real problem which is there outside, faced by tons of people. So all those things comes as a very first thing. After that, even after have this idea, you got that validation, okay, this idea makes sense, but
Mm-hmm.
again you need to develop some product out of it. Idea is idea. At the end you need to plan how you would develop a product or a service, whatever it is, at
Right.
the end, right? And you should not ever be going like fully building a huge product. Probably what you can do is you can build a prototype. By prototype I
Mm-hmm.
mean just a testing product, so that you're not spending much on building your product
Mm-hmm.
on that idea, just testing it out, and it's kind of a
Okay.
validation in a way, right? And then doing a soft launch of that product, checking out whether this prototype MVP really works. Is this really solving out the problem? Because what you do as a validation, when you go out in the market, things are totally different again. You might not get
Exactly.
people buying your product also. You never know, it might happen. So somewhere
Yes.
you just develop a basic. By prototype I mean, if it is a technology product, like a
Mm-hmm.
basic web or a application kind of a product, then just build a basic homepage or a 1 or 2 page. Don't build a 200 pager website
Mm-hmm.
on the very first day. Just check out whether this idea is exciting in the market, whether people are
The
really coming.
audience, yes.
Yes, the people are really coming, all those things you need to check. Then that's why we always suggest, okay, idea, then validate, probably have some a MVP being built, which is a prototype, and do it very a beta launch, a soft launch to test,
Right.
in a small city or a small area, small
Region,
nearby
right.
area. Yes, 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 so that you really get a real feedback, and probably you might be surprised to see that kind of a feedback. Okay, what you
Mm-hmm.
thought is somewhere people don't demand, maybe, and somewhere you
Exact.
are required to do something else in your product, maybe change the feature, change the USP, whatever it is. So
Yeah.
basis the idea that you come, the feedback that you get in on your first MVP, then only you realize, okay, now I can work out on a product which might be better acceptable. So that's how, I mean, it's so many things. I just cut it short also by just giving you a couple of stages, but from idea to actually launching in the market, it's a very very big exercise. It's a very broad
Okay.
question, but I hope I tried to
Yeah. Yeah,
deliver.
but actually, from this question, I'm just having another question. I mean, what if I have, I mean, two, three ideas? I mean, can I work on all together? I mean, is it a good thing or not? I mean,
See, again, like I said, we are going into the same thing. Like, you
yeah,
said, like, you have 2 3 ideas.
yeah,
People do have tons of idea.
yes,
Right. So I'm not surprised by you saying that you have so many ideas. But I'll be honest here, Ankita, like
mm,
you can't really work on 2 ideas also. Forget about three,
mm,
four, five, six. I mean, you really can't put your mind, effort, soul. It's sort of so many financial resources required, so many monetary aspects are attached,
monetary things, yeah.
efforts, time, everything. So you really can't, like, look at this way. You are trying to build sort of Wipro also and Infosys also. Like, at the end you want to
Yeah.
build an idea into a big business, right? So you can't like be a CEO of a Wipro as well as Infosys, right? you
Mhm.
you have to be like working on
Yeah.
one stuff. So possibly what I'll suggest is, now what you can do is, if you have like 2 3 ideas, I
Mhm.
mean, pick a one where your conviction lies. Pick a one where you find that this is probably close to your heart. That's like something
Yeah.
intangible. But take a logical decision here. You know, your expertise would be in some or the other way, right? Would
Hmm.
that expertise be used more in idea one or idea two? That you need to decide. What you can do with idea one maybe much better than idea two as a person, then idea one gets the weightage more. And most importantly, like I talked about validation in our last discussion, so
Mhm.
possibly what you can do is, I mean, if you see that both the ideas somewhere are brilliant, but you need to like then validate, probably see in the
Mhm.
market which idea has a greater potential to be successful in the market, greater potential to have a a successful product. Acceptability probably would be more. the sector is booming. There can be so many factors. So basis that, I would suggest that, go on to the one,
Okay.
put everything in that one. Then if you have
Right.
really taken a call,
Right.
okay, let me just build something on that idea, just take a complete call that I'm gonna focus on this idea only, and really
Exactly.
want to make a $1 billion business out of it. Otherwise, like we always
All
say,
goes into vain.
exactly, like we say, like, putting your feet into two different buckets
Yes,
will make
yes,
you
yes.
really fall,
Correct.
so
So
yeah,
we need to focus on one thing at a time so that we can, I mean, put efforts in that thing only, right? So that
absolutely,
the
absolutely, that's
result will be, I mean, in positive way. Or no,
yeah.
I mean, neither in positive, but yes, we know where we are standing. Yeah.
Mm.
And one of my friend was having a question. Actually, he was looking for a co-founder in business development. So how should he go about finding, I mean, what is the better way to find a co-founder in business
Okay,
development?
okay, okay. See, when you say, like, your friend is looking for a co-founder, so
Hmm.
see, co-founder is one of the most important, sort of designation, you would say, or a
True.
position in a startup, because it's like a partner in crime that you're looking for.
Exactly.
And usually, if you are the guy who's building something, and you are looking for someone who could really support, he should be
Mhm.
as good as you, and he should be equally involved as you are.
Active
So
partner.
active partner. And it's and in a startup, what happens is, Ankita, it's not like a usual hiring. It's not
Mhm.
like I go onto a naukri.com or other kind of a job portal and simply put the opening of a co-founder, and I'll start getting it. So it's not that easy, because
Right.
uh, you probably
It.
don't have resources also, probably because
Mhm.
startup is always, like, somewhere struggling to have good resources. You can't pay off
Yes.
too many people, also on the very first day and at a higher salary and all those things. So there are a
Exactly.
lot of problems involved in a startup. But yeah, having said that, you still need a co-founder, right? And
Hmm.
uh,
Okay.
there are many ways you can do that. So let me just you know uh, talk about that now.
Right.
So, you know first thing, probably, you must have seen in other startups also, like, the co-founders are usually, the people who have been colleagues working in a
Mm-hmm.
same, office earlier, or they are, like, from a same college or a batch. So
Batch.
the first thing is, it happens naturally, one, because, if two people in a college, they get an idea, they start together. So that's how the co-foundership happens at the very early stage. But if in case, that bus is missed, probably again you could reach out to your, previous batchmates, because you know them probably. Okay, he was the guy who was good in technology, he was the guy who was good in business development.
Right.
So people from your own batchmates, probably your own earlier, work environment, your earlier, where you have worked earlier, those companies, there, you know them also, and probably their skill, how they have performed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easier to reach out to them because they know you also. And if you
Exactly.
share your idea with them, they probably get convinced. And even if they are thinking to get into entrepreneurship and starting something, then I think there can be a perfect
A
matchmaking
perfect
happen.
match. Yes.
Absolutely. So yes, this is one thing that
Mm-hmm.
everyone would start off with when they're looking for a co-founder. But
Mm-hmm.
yes, every time it may not happen, but still, networking is something that you have done it throughout your life.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then, probably, reaching out to the people who, probably they might not be, your previous colleagues or batchmates,
Mm-hmm.
but still, more people than those also, like, so reaching out to your network, the people,
Mm-hmm.
you might have, interacted with someone who are, enthused about getting into
Mm-hmm.
startups and all those things. So yeah, figure that out, reach out to your batchmates, colleagues, probably,
Mm-hmm.
people in your network, friends of friends also. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
get to know, like, from your friend, that someone is, wanting to get into
To
entrepreneurship.
the
He has 10
entrepreneurship.
years of sales experience, and you're looking for
Yeah.
someone to take care of BD.
Mhm.
So that can also be there. Another thing
Yeah.
that probably
Mhm.
one can do is look, like today, we know the one of the biggest platform, which is LinkedIn. I mean,
Mhm. Right.
it's one of the perfect
Eh,
platform for finding resources for a startup. And now especially LinkedIn has designed it in a way that even a startup guy can look for another co-founder.
Yes.
They
Yes.
can officially also put a kind of a opening as a
Yes.
co-founder there.
Open to work or open to something. Yeah.
Yes,
It
yes.
has an option. Yes.
So on LinkedIn, this community
Mhm.
of founding people, founding team members, founders,
Mhm.
investors, it's very active today, and people are definitely putting their requirements on LinkedIn, reaching out. So this again, it's a part of a network probably that you have built on a social media platform also, that you are reaching out to. It's like that. So yes, LinkedIn is another, and then it has given a good output also. And I'll tell you from my experiences, yes, for one of my venture, we got a co-founder from LinkedIn only. So I can
Oh,
bet on it, like it really works when you're looking for it.
great.
And
That's great.
probably I like to add one more part to it, like,
Yes.
maybe there are a lot of events, probably as a founder, you go to some sort of startup events that are happening. There are those like-minded people you might meet, and on these startup events, probably you might meet a guy who's a good guy for you, and he can be your co-founder. So yeah, I mean, at the end you have to be like open, you have to like be out, speaking out about your requirements to everyone who you meet, and that's the way to go about it. I mean, you can't like have a headhunter. Even couple of headhunters have gone into finding co-founders, honestly,
Yes.
because startup ecosystem is going to a next level. Even these HR consultancy who are into
Yep.
headhunting are you know so this is the fourth point, but probably
Yes.
that might cost you a lot, because
Mm-hmm.
finding a guy who's co-founder, you might be charged as a bomb, by these headhunters and consulting firms. But the first three are the ones which you should be leveraging. Your friend should be leveraging indeed,
Okay.
to find a co-founder. So yeah.
But yeah, but suppose I mean, if I have a great startup idea, okay, and but I don't know how would I be able to leave my job. I mean, a permanent job, and my family will also not support this decision. So, in that case, I mean, what a person should do? I mean, what is the what should he or she do in this kind of situation?
Okay. Uh, See, I know, this situation is very difficult to handle. It's not that easy,
Mm-hmm.
to leave your
Waiting, yeah.
job or go against your family and all those things. But again, it depends on the person, who's doing it. Uh, you know, so basically, what happens is, see, if you have that kind of an idea and you really, you're like sort of 100% certain that you really want to take a plunge, you want to take that kind of a risk. First of all, you have to like think about whether, again, going back a bit, whether this idea would work, what are the probability, what are the chances. Probably I'll suggest one has to be like calculative enough, like not a
Mm-hmm.
completely blindly taking a risk. Okay, out of excitement, I have this idea, I will do it. No, just take a pause, think about it, gauge the probability, gauge the amount of risk it has.
Mm-hmm.
What are the opportunity costs? When I say opportunity cost, means what you are losing out. Probably you might be required to leave your job, paying you say 50,000 a month, maybe. I don't know. Just an example here, right? So is it worthy enough? How would you be able to cope it up with? How would you be managing those expenses that you are already having with this given salary package that you are already getting? So you have to plan it well, gauge the potential of your idea through validation, understand where it can really take you, and then take a very logical and a sound and a calculative decision before taking a plunge, I would say. Because at the end, when you said, you are in a job and you have a family to take care of, and probably the family might not be supportive. First of
Hmm.
all, the conviction has to come from you.
Yep.
You need to be sure before talking about your job, before talking
Hmm.
about your family, that do I really want to get into this? Do I
Yes.
do this really make sense for me to get into this at this point in time? Can I really make a good business out of it? Does this idea have a good potential? And when you get yes to all these answers, probably, you know,
Hmm.
then comes how to manage all these things. Then you have to
Okay.
obviously think, like, you can't do two to three things parallelly. So you might be
Hmm.
required to leave your job, and how you're going to manage those expenses that you're already incurring in taking care of you or your family, whatever it is, right? Then you have to manage your finances, like, you should have this much of money to even sustain your startup and even sustain your own personal needs also. So that's where then only you should be thinking logically, okay, let me take a plunge and leave my job, probably.
Yeah, I mean, there should be a zeal, right, to
Absolutely.
work towards your dream. Okay,
Yes.
so yeah,
Yes.
so
And
yep, yep,
yeah, so one more thing, like, I just
yes,
so job is one, here you
mm-hmm.
have to, like, be very, very cautious about your financials and everything, and take a sound decision uh, to leave it or not. And then obviously, you talked about family. I missed out on family part. uh, See, at the end, family might be against you. I mean, I've seen in a lot many cases, the families are, like, not supportive enough, because at the end you are getting into a risky affair. Whatever
Exactly,
gauging, whatever validation you do, at the end you're getting into the riskiest affair. You don't know whether your product would be successful or not till the end you hit the market. You do a lot of things, but still it remains a very risky affair. That's why startup game is the riskiest one, like like everyone says. But so the family, probably, I would suggest that everyone, should not be going against family for sure. They they should be rather focusing on convincing them. And
right,
that convincing power will only come when you are convinced. So that's why,
yes,
I again, like I said, you should be, like, 100% rock solid certain that
yes,
you are wanting to get into this whole risky game. And then only probably, you can try convincing your family members, parents, and make them believe that this 50,000 job that you're leaving, probably you'll be a billionaire in
yeah,
next couple of years. And that might sound a very too optimistic kind of a story, but probably, if you have that conviction, probably you can convince at least your family members. You can't go against with them. So yeah, I mean,
exactly.
that's
I
the
mean,
way out, I
so
see.
first, yeah, so first we need to convince ourselves, right? Then we have to convince, I mean, others. So one of the user, Mr. Trilok, having one question. I mean, how can I feed my ideas and convert them into startup?
Yeah. So I think, it's very similar to the first question that you have taken.
Hmm.
Like I said,
Okay.
you know again, ideas are so many, and tons of it. So probably, you know those ideas need to be well validated, and go with the logic of building a MVP around, and sort
Hmm.
of testing that in the market, and then scale it up. So that's how I see one has to take care of it.
Okay. And I mean, if anyone wants to create a big brand, I mean, how should he or she create a big brand for their startup idea?
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
So the question is, like, someone wants to build a
Yeah,
brand. Okay. Okay.
right.
Okay. Okay. So I think I don't have a much context to that question, but still, one keyword has come, which is brand. So
Mhm.
I'll definitely like to answer that for sure. So see, this is my opinion, my perspective. So whenever you are building a startup, maybe and my view has always been, okay, let's first of all build the business rather
Mm-hmm.
than building a brand. So I mean, the first year, first couple of you know years, are primarily focused on building the business. And brand is something that comes, for big businesses. Like you today have so many brands, HUL,
Mm-hmm.
so many brands in banking. HDFC is a brand now, Hindustan Unilever, so many big brands, but brand is something that comes later, as per me. As an entrepreneur, one should be totally focusing on building a business. And brand automatically, you start focusing on it when you start hitting the market. When you start hitting the market, and then you think, okay, I need to sort of position my product well. I need to sort of think about how would I be presenting my product as a brand in the market, and all those things. So yeah, so probably it is an important. I'm not saying that it's not
Yeah.
important, but it comes a little later after you have
Later.
developed a product, and you are thinking of hitting the market. But yes, couple of things here, Ankita. I think I would suggest, the one who's asked the question,
Mm-hmm.
that when you're starting to decide the name of your venture, probably, and trying to create a logo also, because
Yes.
those are the times that comes quite early, even you have not started building product. There you definitely have to think about it, as a what name you're gonna choose, what name you're gonna choose for your venture, what logo you want to design. Have some brainstorming being done, show it to 10 more people. This is the name I'm choosing. This is the logo that I've designed, everything. So that's the initial stages where one start thinking about their brand, because the name is the most important thing. So I
Mm-hmm.
like to take the example of Grab Guidance here. so
Okay.
so so like we have built this Grab Guidance together, right, Ankita? So
Right.
we really wanted to guide the student, so that's why
Yes.
guidance is somewhere which connotates our vision, that we want to guide everyone right outside.
Right.
And Grab is something that connotates, like, on the go, on demand,
Yeah.
like quickly. You when you are hungry, what you do, you just grab a burger and
Yeah. Grab a snicker.
grab a snicker, right? So it's like
Right.
on demand, quickly. You're
Yeah.
resolving any of your hunger or any kind of a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we've built this platform, Grab Guidance, wherein you can get the guidance on the go, on demand, anywhere, from anytime. So you come on our portal,
Certainly.
you just click a photograph of two questions, put it on a website, select a guy whom you think he can be a best teacher guy, mentor for you, and just book
Yeah.
a session and have it there itself on our platform. So that's why selecting the name is also very important. And even there is a huge meaning to our logo. I think you know it, but yeah, I'll keep it short. But would like to give another one example here, and talking about
Mm-hmm.
another dimension on the brand side. So, Ankita, what happens is, like, even, in very beginning, startup may not have those kind of a expertise. I may not be probably a, marketing and a branding guy, but I still
Mm-hmm.
create a very good name and still create a logo. But down the line, you have an option to reposition. Let
Hmm.
me bring it like the case of Zomato here. So Zomato repositioned big time. Probably a lot many people still don't know that they were called as Foodie Bay.
Yes.
They were into food business, and Bay is like, okay,
Hmm.
yeah, so Foodie Bay. They thought like this, and but when they grew, I mean, we all know today, Zomato is something
Zomato.
which everyone knows, and I think it
Big,
comes from tomato.
big venture. Yep.
Right. so
Yeah.
so yeah, so yeah, so maybe down the line, when you have investors, there are so many dimensions, so many expertise coming on board, and
Mm-hmm.
then probably you might go for a repositioning and all those things. That can happen at any point in time. But yes, still, when you are starting to select a name or building a logo, you have to be like creative enough and think from your vision think from your perspective, like where you want to build, how you want to build, and take this venture to next level and all those things.
Okay. So one of the users is having a question. I mean, at early stage of my startup, knowing valuation of the venture needed. I mean,
Okay. Can you
I
repeat? I probably missed out. Sorry.
at early stage of my startup, knowing valuation of the venture needed. Actually, I am also got confused
Okay. Okay.
with this
No, no, I
question.
think I got it. I got it. No, no,
Mhm.
thanks. So, people, I think this is a very, usual question, I would say. And lot many, founder, they do have it like, uh, because, every day, every founder is reading so many articles talking about every startup raising, seed round, series A, B, C, D at a
Mm,
valuation of 1 billion, 10 billion, whatever it is. I mean, it's like a valuation going on outside, and people are like very, this thing, like, okay, so I have started my venture. uh, so I mean, what should be my, valuation of my venture, or how should I value? So this is a very common question that comes, and everybody wants to know. Okay, yeah, I mean,
mm,
but yeah, I'll tell you what happens in reality. See, again, I would suggest that, entrepreneurs should really be again focusing on building product, hitting the market, creating team, creating a useful product so that they are solving out, their, customers problem and all those things. uh, Valuation is something that again comes later. You need not to worry about it, because it will happen automatically. If some investors you know is coming on board, they will probably take care of it. And then, I'll tell you, at a very, very early stage, you can't really value a company, because if you go into
mm,
financial perspective, there are like models like discounted cash flow, relative valuation method. So discounted cash flow can really not be applied, because you don't have, you know probably money coming in. You have not even started revenue. You are a pre-revenue stage, right? Probably,
mm.
uh, you are still, loss making organization. You don't have much cash flows coming in. So there are certain bottlenecks that you can really not, you know uh, calculate as per, the methodologies available. But yeah, somewhere, you already have certain cues, from the market. So relative valuation is something, a lot of investors rely upon. But again, that comes quite late when you are, trying to get into, funding, when you're
Mhm.
trying to think of, probably, getting some external funds to,
Yeah.
yeah, to scale your startup and all those things. So yes, valuation is important, but it comes at a later stage. And mostly what happens is, even if you have built a venture, like, you've started earning some revenues, but still, the valuation is mutually being decided between the founders and the investors. And then they come to a, conclusive agreement, like, okay, this should be the value, and rest of the things can be really taken care of. So this is how, it happens mostly. So, but again, you need not to be like so certain. But probably while pitching, probably you have built a
Yeah.
product, you have, started earning some revenue, you have some traction, and then when you go out, say after some time, to hit the market, to
Mm-hmm.
raise some funds, probably there you need to have some, at least some thoughts around what you want to value. Like, let me give you an example here. Suppose you realize after like 1 year, you have built the product, you have, some basic traction, also some revenues
Mm-hmm.
you have started. uh probably want to raise another, like, sort of say 1 million, for instance,
Mm.
right? And you feel that, I only want to, dilute, say 10%, for instance. So with that, you automatically are valuing your company, because if you are, wanting 1 million and want to dilute 10%, it means you are valuing it at 10 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
Although you have not, calculated anything, you have not. But as a founder, what you're doing is, you know what you need, which is 1
Yeah.
million. as a funding, and you know how much you want to dilute, as
Mm-hmm.
an equity. So there automatically you have certain number in your mind, which is a 10 million that automatically comes as a valuation for your business. So this is what you think. I don't want to
Right.
dilute more than 10%. I want this because you have done those financial projections maybe, and then that's how it happens. And then obviously it's like more of a negotiation between, if any investor gets interested in your idea, they then the discussion happens on the table, and they
Yeah.
give their own logic, what happens in the market, what is the multiple to be used in case of there is a similar kind of a venture raising funding and all those things. So yeah, so that's
Mhm.
how it happens. But yeah, again, just focus on building your business, and valuation will happen automatically.
So, as we all know about pitch deck, right? So, I mean, ideally, how many slides to be there in a pitch deck presentation?
Right, right. See, again, pitch deck, like someone mentioned, it's the most important document, I would say, when you are going out to raise the funds. uh, it really talks about what your business is, everything. So
Mm-hmm.
there are so many templates,
Yeah.
which are floating around. Even we talk about pitching. I have couple of sessions. I do it on pitching, and pitch decks, preparing pitch deck, and all those things. So yes, this is again a very usual question, I would say. uh, People make it like 2020 slider pitch deck also, but I think like everyone says, it has to be very concise, to the point, and probably it has to be like somewhere 10 to 12 slides it can have. Although there's no
Okay.
a right number, a standard number given anywhere, but they are all suggestions. And 10 to 12 is somewhere is prescribed by everyone. Is why? Because you need to tell about your business, lot many elements, starting from your team.
Mm-hmm.
You need to tell about your team. You need to tell about your business model. You need to tell about your market size. You need to tell about your GTM strategy. You need to tell about what you are asking for as a fund, how much you want to dilute. Probably you need to talk about financial projections. I mean, there are so many elements, the problem that you are solving, your products. You want to showcase your product probably through pictorial or through any which ways. So yes, there are like one there are like 8 to 10 elements, minimum to 8 to 10 elements that you are required to talk about when you are talking to an investor. So
Okay.
if you take it like one slide also
Hmm.
per element, like I mentioned couple of them, I mean, you need to have like at least 10 then. I mean, you
Then,
can't go below that. I mean, it would be very hard
okay.
for you. Otherwise, you will say, okay, I'm not able to explain one or the two elements. But
Mm,
yeah,
yes.
if you think like, I can, explain them in a very elaborate manner, two
Hmm.
slides per element, that will make it 20 slider. And
Right.
I'm telling you very honestly, nobody has time to go through a 20 slider deck, right?
It should
So
be short and crisp.
absolutely. So
Yes.
somewhere that's why we arrive at a number which is like 10
Mm-hmm.
to 12. I mean, some slide might be taking probably some element might be taking two slides maybe. That's why it's like 10 to
Mm-hmm.
12. But restrict it to maximum 12. Best if it is 10. But yeah, you can't have like 20 to 25 slide deck. Why? Because think that ways, if I am getting a very big document to read, and
Hmm.
I'm falling short of time, then it's I mean, I won't be able to
I mean,
read it fully, and I won't be able to understand your business, and probably you are
exactly.
missing out on that opportunity. Investors don't have time. You have to grab their
Exactly.
attention in like next in just 5 minutes, for example. So somebody, you're sending an email to an investor with a pitch deck. He only has 2 to 5 minutes, right? He can't
Right.
spend like more
True.
than 30 seconds on your per slide.
Mm.
So
Mm, yeah.
you can't give him like 25 pager document, right? It's useless. He will simply not read it
I
completely.
mean,
And yeah,
it will. I mean, yeah, it will be as too boring for the investor also. I mean, so many pages, and he has to read all these things. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely, absolutely. So the attention span, you have to look at it. They have a very short attention span,
Hmm.
and in just 10 slides, like bullet points, very crisp. If you are able
Hmm.
to their tell your business to them, and make them interested in the first couple of slides also, so that they read it till 10 also, 10 slider also. That's very important. So there is, I mean, it's a artistic way to put it while you're creating a pitch deck. It's not that easy that we think. It's not just a ordinary PPT that we make in a college presentation or a
Hmm.
any sort of thing. So yeah, I mean, we can talk about pitch deck for hours and hours, but I think
Exactly.
the answer is
Yeah.
there for the one who asked.
So one of the user is having a question. I mean, Mohit Tyagi, what inspired you to develop your idea of startup, and what is the appropriate time to go for fundings and how it is to be done?
Got it, got it, got it. All right, all right. So very good question, I would say. So what inspired me for this
Yes.
idea is, you always, probably most of the time you might have certain pain points in your life, like
Mhm.
probably, I have been into academics in the first couple of, I would say, like, not couple, a big span in my career. I was into hardcore education sector, then I went on to exploring the edtech sector. So there I got to know like how technology can really do good to to this sector, which is education sector. And being in the hardcore education sector completely, there are so many things which are still not there, which probably this technology can fill in. People are doing it well. There are so many
Mhm.
edtech companies doing fairly well. They are at a great evaluation. They are really impacting everyone's life, but the sector is so huge that there are so many things to be yet to be done, I would say. And there it triggered in my mind, like, why can't we have a platform to solve
Mhm.
out both the sides of the problem? Like, both the side means even the students problem and even the experts problem.
Mhm.
Today, when I was into this whole academic thing, you know the experts, the teachers, the professor, they are like not paid well in India, very honestly. And the pay grade is pretty not that high, which in comparison to other countries. So what I have seen is like they are always on a lookout to get some extra projects, get into some extra tuitions and all those things, which is a usual thing for everyone, right?
Yes.
So there we thought, okay, why can't we have a platform which can provide that
Right.
source of income for them, probably. so
Right.
so so that's one thing that we wanted to tackle it up. That really inspired me, I could say. And another is like students, definitely, they have access to their education, infrastructure, which is school, colleges. But again, we know the situation of school, colleges. That's why the education sector has always been in problem, and that's why the edtech sector is booming, because they are complementing that, the learnings and skills that are the gaps in the education sector. So students, yes, they really want some some extra support for sure. And that's why they rely on those courses, online classes. But again, we thought, okay, everybody's doing that. We don't
Right.
we don't want to get into that. But
Right.
also we realized during and after COVID is like, they, when it comes to online classes, they don't have that kind of a patience to take a Zoom class for hours and hours. They shut
Right.
their camera, and I think no learning is happening, Ankita, very honestly.
Nothing.
So that's why we could see a couple of debates happening on the screen time, on the learning, on the online domain, and all those things. So that's where we thought, okay, people are, the students especially, are interested for a bite-sized learning. you know
Okay.
they don't want to take hours and hours. I mean, they're like burdened with
Obviously.
going to tuitions. They are spend you know The parents are spending so high on tuitions. I mean, there is no need. Probably he might be capable of covering half of the syllabus himself. Why the hell he's going the whole year, taking some extra bag on his bag, and going to tuitions, and probably or hours and hours being spending on online classes. No need, probably. We need to ask him like what, what exactly his needs. Probably he just want
Mhm.
to get covered one concept in a whole
Right.
chapter. He's just stuck to like two or three questions in maths, for
Mhm.
example. I mean, that's
And
where,
we have
yeah.
seen, sorry to interrupt you, and
uh,
actually we have seen many students who hesitate so much in the private tuitions, I mean in that group. Okay, so they don't even have that courage to ask one question. I
yeah.
mean, they feel yeah, what everyone will think of
Yes,
me, right?
absolutely.
So I mean, grab guidance is the perfect platform for those students who hesitate so much and they don't have any courage.
Yeah.
They can just put a one picture of that question or just enter that question and they can go
Yes.
live with that teacher, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think you are bang on. I mean, you
Yes.
mentioned it right. That's a shortfall in a school. People still
Yes.
have like 60 people in the class, and and then they never ask question. And doubts are something which everyone has in abundance, but they don't have a reliable
Resource,
solution
you
for
can say.
that,
Yeah.
right? So that's where we thought. I mean, question comes in anytime, anywhere, and they need a resolution quickly. So let's not bug them with lot of online courses which hardly people finishes it in India.
Mm-hmm.
People leave at halfway or even before that when they're taking online courses. That's the reality. That's a fact. And point is, online classes, with the batches and huge numbers, and with Zoom and all those things, I don't know the the effectiveness of learning. So I mean, we thought of like, let's focus on the bite size learning. Let
Yes.
us give them a solution what they're looking for. Let's not give them a higher screen time. If they want for like
Mm.
20 minutes, just one concept,
Sure.
get it done. So that's where we realize, okay, this is something we can really solve out for by creating this marketplace. And I think this is the whole background of it. I think I answered it.
Yeah.
I could see, look, there's another part to a question. And I think there's similar to a question that we you also got it in the
Mm-hmm.
in your list, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna come. Maybe so I'll take up that also, because completely a different question. So
Mm-hmm.
Mohit is asking, like, I could see the chat as well. So what is the appropriate time to go for funding
Yeah,
and how it is to be done?
it is to
Again,
be done.
it is a pretty huge question, I would say. But I'll still take it up and like to answer in a brief manner, like, because pitching, funding, they are like, to can be discussed for hours and hours. I hope
Mm-hmm.
for but I'm trying to concise it,
Make it, yeah,
looking at
cut it
looking at
short.
the
Yeah.
time constraints we have. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, going ahead, appropriate time to go for funding. I'll be again a little honest and tell you from the experiences that you know uh, it's very critical when you go out in the market, and you can't really go out on the first day. So suppose you have an idea. I'll take you through a story now. Suppose you have an idea, Mohit, and you think, okay, let me ask external people, investors, to fund my idea. I think that's not a right time. Why? Because it's very difficult for any investors to give you a money just because there's something in your mind, there's something in your brain that you want to do this. I mean, it's very difficult if you ask me to give money to you because you're talking that you would do this. I may
Mm-hmm.
not be convinced because I have not seen anything happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is not the right time. So if you have an idea, start working on your idea first, right? And then after idea, probably you start creating a team, also you start developing a product also. And somewhere or the other, you have just created a MVP, for example, a minimum viable product, that a prototype that we say, that at least shows it's a working product, which shows and can really be used in the market. And then you go out. Probably still it would be difficult for investors to fund you. So again, even at a MVP stage, it's not the appropriate time to go for funding, because you just have converted an idea into a product. But still, will this product work is a question mark. Right. So probably you still have to do a lot. So what you're gonna do, like I mentioned the whole thing, do a soft beta launch, or
Yeah.
in some area start creating some traction, starts, probably testing it, and probably, after that feedback you improve your product also, and then you again go back to your customer that hey, I have improved my product, now this is it. Now they will probably buy it in a better way, right? In a better quantity maybe, or for a longer duration, whatever the business model is. So again, it's a long journey. This is still not the right time, and if in case you have started earning revenue even after this whole journey you have covered, you might still face couple of more questions, that hey, this is just a couple of bucks you are earning, just a small amount of revenue, but this does not tell that the whole of the India or a globe gonna take this product. I'm still not convinced. As an investor you might face this problem. So
Okay.
especially in India and now mostly abroad, you must have seen that investors are now giving weightage to profitability. Even they
Right.
want to like fund a startup who's making a money to the extent they are even covering their basic cost. So that is the
Right.
level it has gone now. Earlier, people were, the investors were actually betting on the growth also. Even if you
Hmm.
are burning money, it's okay. But the idea, if they see the idea has a potential and you have shown some traction also, people were betting on it. People were funding them. But today the environment is very stringent. Even you should be thinking of going for the fund now, talking very straight, uh,
Hmm.
only after probably you have a decent amount of revenues being earned. Till that time probably it would be very difficult, or exceptions are always there. I'm not talking about the exceptions, but I'm talking about the usual story. Until you have some good revenue being earned, some good traction, good number of customers using your product, I think it would be very, very difficult before that to raise funds. So I think you got the answer. I mean, just start working on your business product, get into the market. uh, there definitely for that duration you still need fund. Then probably you have those sources like your own savings to be used. Probably you can reach out to your friends and family, and that's the way to actually fund the early stages of this whole journey. Other way, there's no other way. I mean, it's better to go at a later stage for funding rounds rather than just wasting your time and not focusing on building product. Better you build your product first and show some traction and then convince someone. The chances of you getting the funds are much better then.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I fairly answered it, right?
Yes, 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 true.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So, sir, I mean, if we have some time, I'm just having, I mean, one or two questions. Okay,
Yeah.
so, I mean, what is elevator pitch? I mean, I have listened this word, I mean, but I don't know what is that. I mean, what is elevator pitch?
Okay. So before taking this question, what I'm doing, Ankita, is probably I am putting the feedback link here, and probably you
Yes.
can
Just give
share the
me a minute.
information.
Yes.
Just give me a second. So yeah, guys, I have put the feedback link here, and I think the ones who are attending, you are free to share the feedback with us, so that
Uh,
I myself improve going forward. We all improve in
yes.
giving you this whole experience of the GG online class. So I have put it in the chat. Hope you get it, and please feel free to give us the feedback. Cool. Thank you so much. So yeah, Ankita, now I'll come back to your question.
Yes.
I think somebody asked about elevator pitch. Okay, yeah,
Yes,
that's
elevator
that's
pitch.
that's good. That's good. So people in our community knows all these terminology. I'm impressed with the people who have registered and shared those questions. Want to really thank. I mean, they're really really nice questions that I'm taking up today.
Getting that.
So yeah, elevator pitch. Elevator. We all know it's like the lift that we're talking about, and
Mhm.
when you take a lift, probably you meet a guy, and you hardly have 60 seconds in that lift with him,
Okay.
and the word is coming like elevator pitch. Like you are in a lift with an investor, you are in an elevator with an investor, and you just have 60 minutes, and how could you pitch to them for raising funds? So that's the whole
Yeah.
background of elevator
Got
pitch.
it.
And uh, and and I'll tell you, this is the hardest part when it
Mhm.
comes to pitching. Why? Because if I tell you, Ankita, okay, you have 20 minutes, 30 minutes to explain your business, you'll be relaxed. I mean, 20 minutes is huge. You
Yeah.
can easily talk about every element. You can easily explain me everything in detail, and present your business, present yourself in a fairly good manner. So that's the easiest part, right? But if I tell you to do the same thing and
That
tell me all the major important elements in 60
right.
seconds,
So
it's
that will be
very
difficult. Yep.
very difficult. But that's where the artistic skill of a founder should come into play, and they should be really able to explain everything about their business in just 60 seconds, in just 1 minute. And just think it like, the investor is listening to you just for 1 minute, and you have to probably explain it fairly well and grab his complete attention and all those
Attention.
things. Yeah, it's like, that's
Okay.
what it is. So I hope this is elevator pitch, and creating that elevator pitch, we really can't go in how to create that elevator pitch, honestly, because it's again a very difficult job. You sit down,
Hmm.
I'll just give a couple of hacks here what to do. So just sit down, just try to write a paragraph first,
Okay.
on your business, talking about each and every those elements we spoke
Hmm.
while creating a pitch deck. Like, you should be talking about what problem you're solving, what is your product doing, sort of what is the business model, probably your competitors, and what you're asking for at what valuation, maybe everything. So you need to just have like a small paragraph maybe with, and just write one line of everything.
Okay.
That's the first way to start off, and then time it. Just try practicing it, time it, and see how big it is when you really speak it in front of someone, and then figure it out like where all you can cut it short, and have a very concise wording, concise and to the point, straightforward thing to be delivered in that 60 minutes. So I think that's
Yeah.
one approach I could share. But yeah, it is
Okay.
really a difficult job, not an easy. We can again
Mhm.
probably take a session is needed to really talk about how to create a
Yes.
elevator pitch.
I think we should need to look on stopwatch. I mean, before explaining anyone to the, I mean, investor or not. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one last question, one user is having. I mean, what should I do to enter the market for my new product?
Okay. Okay. Again, I think this is again, a very broad question, and an important one. I mean, I mean, it's the most important, because what happens is, being a founder, you had this idea, you created the product also, but what this product, I mean, will do until unless it hits the market, until unless it gives you the return, which is after selling the revenue that we are talking about. So it's pretty important that you need to have a complete GTM strategy, go to market strategy in place. Being a founder, probably you have to sit down, think it through, what other people have been doing, your competitors have
Mhm.
been doing, take cues from there, what you think will be working out, where your target audience is, who your customer is. Basis that, decide what you need to do. For instance, like I'll take a example in our case. We are catering to students, right? And
Mhm.
today's students are, we know they are mostly on YouTube, they are mostly on
Yes.
Facebook, and there,
Insta. Yeah.
yeah, Instagram specifically. Yeah, you're right. So these are the platform where a lot of students consume. They spend a lot of daily hours there, and to be present on these channels makes a lot of sense for us, because this is where we can at least make them aware that this is a unique offering we are coming out with, and all those things. So awareness comes through social media. That's one thing one has to do. WhatsApp, people, everyone today is doing it. That's a great tool, could be used. These social media things, where, so you need to decide first where your actual user is, and basis that, decide, okay, if it is like professional corporate people,
Mhm.
some then LinkedIn probably is also a good option. So you need to decide all this and focus of creating that awareness, because it's a new product, people don't know about it.
Right.
Start creating some social media pages, start
Mhm.
doing some campaigns, making them aware. Probably you might be required to run couple of ads, sort of, you just to create that excitement and awareness, so that people start at least getting to know about this whole new product. So that's the basic step. Otherwise, you could as a new product, you can start focus on doing some participation in the events.
Okay.
People do that because uh, you are a new, you start going to some startup events. You can
So that way we can met. I mean, many people
yeah.
who are looking for our product. Right.
Absolutely, absolutely. Plus, in startup events, what usually happen is you might have a collaboration. You meet some other founder or co-founder, and probably you find a synergy of working with them and hitting the market together with a different kind of offering also. So a lot of things happen. At the end,
Yes.
you have to like reach out. Do some
Right.
events like So this is one event, like we talk about GG online class. This is
Mhm.
one event that we do it fairly, like for for a we've been doing like for last if I'm not wrong, almost like 2 years now. We've been doing like
Yes.
on a monthly basis at least. We try to do that for sure. So there we try to get connected with our users and offer them
Right.
something, so that they get to know about us. So these events, social media and everything should be done. And most importantly, when it is a product, suppose you have developed a website or an app,
Mm-hmm.
then definitely you need to, if it is catering to a B2C market, then there are a lot of digital things that you need to do, probably email marketing. you
Mm-hmm.
know you could figure out search engine optimization, because at the end you want to
Okay.
bring a lot of traffic on your portal. And
Right.
search engine optimization is one big thing that can really get traffic to your portal. And you have to have a strong digital team, doing some good stuff for you, working on content marketing. So there are a lot of things. And if in case it's a B2B kind of a product, again, in B2B, like you have to reach out through your sales team to your end users and the decision makers. There,
Mm-hmm.
the strategy is a bit different. The GTM strategy is different, like for B2C and B2B. But you need to be aware, like how can you make your TG aware with what all tools, like email marketing is important for a B2B use case also, because you can just shoot out the emails to
Right.
a lot of say it's a HR tech product. So a lot of
Mm-hmm.
if you have a HR managers database, you just shoot out an email to them, and they will get to know at
Right.
least 10%. If
Right.
the opening rate is the 10% of the community gets to know, okay, this is a new HR tech product coming in. And then you start creating your own funnel. People do want to ask like what exactly this new stuff is, and reach out like that. So yeah, in the beginning, what I see is you have to do a lot of push marketing. And as and when you start building traffic, as and when you start getting name, and it takes time, you have to have
Yes.
patience. Like we also have faced this,
Hell
like
lot of patience. Yes.
yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. We have to, like, it's a new product, people don't know, and the market is so huge outside. It's not gonna happen overnight. It takes hell lot of time, and you need to be like giving the right message outside, doing a push marketing for sure, and then slowly and gradually you'll start making your name. It happens a little late, but yeah, that time do come, and you get some inbound inquiries, and then
Mm-hmm.
you set up your on site sales team also for that. So that's how the whole thing is, probably. So yeah, I think we covered almost all the question, I think. Yeah, am I right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
All right, all right, all right.
So yeah, it was. I mean, great to have you and all these questions. I believe our user got a lot of information from you. Okay, and comment section is always open. If anyone has having any question, they can put it down, and our team will give reply to them. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your time.
yeah. Cool. Thank you so much, Ankita. I love the question that was sent by the
Users,
people.
yes.
Yes, yes, yes. And I would like to thank everyone who attended this, and if in case still you have guys
Yeah.
any questions, I am available on grabguidance.com. You can search through Dr. Himanshu. My profile is there on Grab Guidance, and if you really want to get connected at any time, just probably you can book a slot also very easily. And then Ankita, what we can do is we can put on the comment section the profile straight away also, so that they
Yes.
can reach out to the to me directly as well. So thank you so
Yes.
much, Ankita, for all your questions. I think it was great to have you, and thank you
Same
so
here.
much, guys. So bye bye. I'll sign off now, and I'll
Sure.
end the
Okay.
broadcast. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.